Tonight, back in this light middleweight division, which is throwing up so many excellent contests, even at British level these days, we had Jamie Moore from Salford just down the road. 12 straight wins, another youngster, 22 years of age, trained by the popular ex-Manchester star Steve Foster, and up against him tonight, critical night in the career of Scott Dixon, the one-time Commonwealth welterweight champion, having to win here to prove he is still a force. Here's round one.
Well, it's the biggest test so far for Manchester fighter Jamie Moore, only 22, big Mike Tyson fan, and wears those plain black trunks a la Tyson and the black boots without any socks as well. He's facing Scott Dixon, the former Commonwealth welterweight champion, who's had a bit of a mixed time of it since moving up to light middleweight, but did win last time out in Spain, so he might fancy his chances here. But Moore doesn't get much publicity, but he might be a real improver who could shake up the top guys in the division in Britain given time, Glenn.
Yes, he's coming along well in his career. He's very strong and aggressive southpaw, and he'll be looking to start well here against Dixon, just to take the fight away from him a little bit, because Dixon will have a bit of confidence coming off a decent win.
Dixon, who outgrew the welterweight division where he had a good spell of success. This is the biggest test yet for Moore, who's never been beyond 6 rounds, but a nice solid start from him with body and head punches getting through there. Black trunks, remember, of Jamie Moore, who's trained by the former Manchester light middleweight Steve Foster. I think the question with Dixon, Glenn, is how effective is he really in this division?
Yes, I think so, but Dixon's still quite young. He's only 24 himself, more experienced than Moore, and it really is just a matter of getting his confidence and, you know, just growing into this division.
He was facing the prospect of being washed up at 24 almost when he was blown away by Steve Roberts and Anthony Farnell. They asked him too much too soon, in my opinion, up at 11 stone. How will he get on with Moore? Moore started very confidently, and there's a nice controlled look about his work early on here.
Yes, he's doing the right thing. He's testing the body of Dixon. I think that's the best thing to do. Try and get there and hurt him.
A really good left hand to the head got through, and another one following it up to the body. Nice high-held guard as well from Moore. Others have been getting much more publicity in this 11-stone division in Britain, which is buzzing with talent just at the moment. Moore just bubbling under the top 10. Could break into it tonight, though.
Well, it might have done him some good, just the pressure not being on him. He's pretty young at 22, so he's had time just to learn the game.
Got him with some good shots in this first round. He's dominated it, and there's some blood from the nose now of Scott Dixon. He's had an uncomfortable opening 3 minutes here. Good work from the southpaw from Salford, Jamie Moore. He definitely is improving all the time.
Yes, he is. He's just coming along nicely. It's a slow development, but you know, he's strong, and he started well there. Good body punches going in, and then rocking the head back of Dixon.
Moore, he used to drive a van making beer deliveries, but gave all that up because he said, my job is boxing. I want to concentrate on it full time.
There's the head punches, the long left hand from Moore, and then looking to switch and get down to the body.
That's a really good shot. Picked it well, didn't he?
Yes, he did, but showing good variety there.
Here's round 2 of this one. It's for the WBU International light middleweight title. Just a stepping stone for Moore on the way through, but a very significant test for him. He's looked pretty handy in disposing of journeymen in quite quick time so far. Stopped some usually quite durable types too, people like Wayne Shepherd. Working his punches quite cleverly, isn't he?
Yes, he's got a come forward style. With that, he's got to keep rolling the shoulders and keep the head moving a lot. But he does that. You can see he's obviously watched a few Tyson tapes in his time.
Well, he was just 7 when Iron Mike first became heavyweight champion. Not too many similarities in style, you'd have to say, between the pair of them. But it was Tyson who gave him the boxing bug, so to speak. Hitting the gloves quite a bit here. Dixon has already got some facial damage, as you can see. And Moore with a good right to the body that time, and then digs in a couple more lefts as well. He's not wasting very many.
Well, Dixon's been forced to stand and trade with him. I'm not sure that is the best tactic for Dixon. Maybe a bit of movement around the ring and use the long punches would suit him more.
Good body shot there, though, from Scott Dixon, who does know all about going the full 12 rounds. He was in that absolute thriller with Derek Roach. 5 knockdowns in it. He just lost it. Great fight. He might be looking here to just take Moore into uncharted territory late on, test his stamina. A bit more battle-hardened, Scott Dixon, but uncomfortable early moments, no doubt about that here. I think Moore's quite heavy-handed, you know.
Yes, I think he is. I think he's pretty strong and heavy-handed. And Dixon, it's surprising that he's electing to stand in close with Moore.
I must say the 22-year-old so far has a nice, cool, composed air about him. Settled straight away into a rhythm. Yet another fighter then off the very productive production line in Manchester. He's working the angles more, head, body, and that's his round 2. It's an uncomfortable old night this for Scott Dixon, who comes from Hamilton up in Scotland, but is usually based down at the Peacock Gym, where he's been a PT instructor. Some people around the camp say that the London life didn't exactly suit him, and maybe a bit happened too fast too soon for him.
Well, I think that could be the thing. I think too much happened too soon. He was in too many fights at a high level before he was probably ready, and that maybe took a bit out of him. But he's electing to stand with Moore. Maybe he feels he can try and push Moore on the back foot, and Moore will not be as effective. But so far, Moore getting his shots in well.
Round 3 of what is due to be a 12-rounder. Remember, the Salford youngster Jamie Moore's in the solid black trunks here. Scott Dixon, the former welterweight champion of the Commonwealth, beat the New Zealander Sean Sullivan to pick up that particular title. But do you know, he's just looking at the prospect of maybe being a journeyman prematurely in his career, and unless he can chalk up a few significant wins. He's fought in Europe a bit lately. He had that win in Spain, stopped the guy in 5 rounds. That was good enough, but he lost to a novice before that. There's a low blow in there from Moore, left, and that adds to Dixon's discomfort. He's got 5 minutes if he wants it. Keep the punches up, says Dave Parris, the referee from Tottenham in North London. Nobody's making that big a fuss of it. He's got a good attitude to it all, Scott Dixon, but he has been in some hard ones.
Well, he's got to just up his work rate a bit, Dixon. He's allowing Moore to dictate the fight. Moore is busier in there and getting off with the better punches.
He's quite good, isn't he, too, with that little right hook into the rib cage. Particularly noticeable, that. The question really for Moore of whether he can hold this all together if it goes long.
Well, I think that's Dixon's best chance. Dixon's got to make this fight go long. and hopefully, you know, Moore might just start coming apart.
Let him go, let him take it.
Mustn't let his work become ragged. Moore just got caught by one there, but came back with an answer. 3-4 punch combination.
Yes, they were good shots. Just chipped the jab into an uppercut and then come out the left hand, and this is good work from Moore.
He looks a pretty high-quality operator on this evidence. Actually fought Anthony Farnell a couple of times when they were amateurs, and that little duel ended 1 apiece. Oh, there's a good punch there, though. He's got him there, and Scott Dixon is in real trouble now. The count's at 6, 7. He gets up with it at the mandatory 8, walks back towards his corner, but the wind was really knocked out of Scott Dixon there, and Moore might just be able to finish this, and if he did, wouldn't that be impressive? Dixon trying to cover up, and bravely fires in a left hook of his own. But Moore giving evidence again that he has plenty of power. He can dig all right, and these body punches are beginning to break up Scott Dixon. Look at that, 4, 5, 6 punch combination to the head as well.
It's terrific variety. He really is going for the stoppage here, Moore.
Really turning on the style. It's quite a revelation, this, from Jamie Moore. He's looked useful against the journeyman. Upped in class, he looks more than useful. And Scott Dixon wonders how he got through that round. Well, he's really taking the eye here, isn't he?
He really is. This is very good work from Jamie Moore, putting his shots together well. Just found the gap there with the left hand, round the elbow, and Dixon went down heavily. It was a good shot. He had been throwing the right hand an awful lot, and then just brought the left into play.
Somewhere near what Barry McGuigan calls the floating rib, isn't it?
Somewhere near there. But it was good work. He went for the finish here, Moore. He had good instincts to try and get Dixon out of there. Dixon took a lot of shots and did very well, but a good accuracy from Moore.
52-7, landed in the 3rd round. Here's round 4. Black trunks of the unbeaten Jamie Moore, 12-0 going into this one, and it's not looking at the moment as if it'll be an unlucky 13th. He stopped 8 of those 12, by the way. Good right hand from Dixon. Dixon's pride is keeping him afloat at the moment, you fancy. But he's a bit too easy to hit, isn't he?
Yes, he is. He's just been standing around too much. He gets through with the occasional shot, Dixon, just to tell Moore he's still there.
He's trying to lift himself here. Dixon, you can sense it. See if he can put Moore onto the back foot. The problem for Scott Dixon is his record as a puncher at welterweight. There's nothing special, though. He always claimed that statistic lied and that he did have power. But of course, up at light middleweight, his punches are going to have even less effect.
That's right, especially somebody who's pretty strong and durable like Moore. But Moore is doing well in close. Dixon's trying to get some shots off Moore, keeping his hands up nice and tight.
He's risen up through the weights quite quickly, Scott Dixon. He was a flyweight at 17, a bantam at 18, featherweight at 19, at 24, here he is up at 11 stone. His body's filled out, and Moore continuing just to pick the shots. He just stepped half a step back up there, did Dixon.
Yes, he's punishing the body and then going to the head with these big heavy hooks, Moore.
This is better from Dixon. He's got his man trapped against those ropes for a moment, and Moore comes out of that just looking a little more tired. They were good shots, I fancy, those from Scott Dixon. His best spell in the fight here. It's only brief. Can he keep it up?
Well, it's good from Dixon. This might just test Moore a little bit mentally, see how tough he is when Dixon comes back at him.
And there is the stamina thing. Remember, Moore's never been beyond 6 rounds. It's worth keeping that in the back of your head. Give credit here to Scott Dixon. He's taken quite a bit. He was on the floor in the last round. Here he is coming forward in the fourth.
Well, he's shown himself to be very gutsy, Dixon. We knew that already. But his career doesn't need too many more setbacks.
Stopped by Steve Roberts and Anthony Farnell, and he was on the floor 6 times in those fights. But here he is with more pressure on Moore, who's going through a bad patch at the moment, needs to fire back. Dixon with these heavy shots, and Moore comes out of that looking much the worse for wear, and suddenly there is a turn in the tide. Moore is now being asked a serious question at the higher level, and he doesn't look good.
He doesn't. That was a good end of the round from Dixon. Put the pressure on Moore, and Moore looked a bit wanting there. He just seemed to get tagged. The strength went out of him, and Dixon just looked mentally more confident, start putting the pressure on. Really driving these heavy hooks home. Moore covering up, but the effects of the punch still getting through.
Well, this is interesting because last time out, Scott Dixon in Spain against a prospect called Ruben Barone apparently lost all the rounds until the 5th when he produced the finish to win it. How much has that knocked out of Jamie Moore? He was absolutely dominating the fight until that last round. But Dixon's confidence will have grown immeasurably from developments in the last minute or so of that last round. Moore needs to get off those ropes, but he's moving now a lot less fluently. I think those legs have just gone a bit for the moment, you know.
Yeah, it looks that way. Maybe it was Dixon's plan to stand with Moore, push him on the back foot, and at this point he's managing to do that. Can Moore be as effective when he is going backwards?
Well, this is the big test. This is where you find out about fighters on the way through. This is why this is a good fight, a good test. Lumps and bumps around Dixon's face, but he isn't contemplating defeat at the moment. In fact, he is defiant.
You can see Dixon really putting everything into his punches. Moore not quite as accurate as he was in the early rounds.
Oh, just looks a bit tired to me. Perhaps worryingly for his cornermen, Steve Foster and Steve Wood.
And Moore did hurt Dixon with a left hook to the body there.
And having to stand and trade, almost punch for punch. But another good body shot from Scott Dixon. I tell you what, whatever other limitations Scott Dixon may have, he has got some grit and bottle. He really has.
Well, they're starting to tire now, but this is making for a good fight.
It's a terrific scrap, this, and a significant one too. It would be a career resurrecting performance from Scott Dixon if he was to turn this around, having been on the wrong end of a lot of punishment for 3 rounds and visiting the canvas too.
But Moore looking the most tired of the two. He's got his mouth open, gasping for a bit of breath.
And suddenly Dixon looks like the man with the kind of man strength in there, doesn't he? Oh, caught by 3-4 head punches. He's missing a few of them, and down he goes. Jamie Moore couldn't take that barrage. He's on the canvas. Is he going to make it even? 8, 9. He has not made it. He's knocked out in the 5th round. And Scott Dixon has scored an amazing win and has inflicted a first ever defeat on Jamie Moore. That is a sensational victory for Scott Dixon. And he screams out loud to the Manchester fans. He's done it away from home, but that was some performance. You could have had any price you wanted about Dixon winning that fight in the 3rd round, but he just ran out of gas, Jamie Moore. Fight number 13 was unlucky.
It was unlucky. Sheer grit and determination won it for Scott Dixon. He wouldn't be beaten. He kept throwing punches, He was just going to throw punches at the end till Moore hit the canvas, and that's what he did. He looked the man towards the end. He looked the fitter of the two, the stronger of the two, and it paid dividends. He had to come through some rocky patches, but he come through them well.
Well, it was an unanswerable blitz at the end from Scott Dixon.
Well, you could see that Moore was tired, his mouth was open. Dixon obviously felt that Moore was starting to weaken, just stood there, kept the pressure on, kept the punches going. The hands starting to come down, and eventually he hits the canvas.
He just punched all the resistance out of him, didn't he? Second time in a row, Scott Dixon wins by stoppage in round 5, and he just might be growing into this light middleweight division after a torrid start at the new weight. He's not washed up at 24. Ask Jamie Moore, and all you can say to Jamie is, well, welcome to the bigger league. This is what it's about.
That's exactly right. This is what it's like when you step up a level. And Dixon proved that them tough fights haven't took it all out of him and maybe made him even better.
Always an element of risk when you step a fighter up. You have to wonder whether he's ready. They thought he was ready, but the answer when it came was no, for Moore anyway.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 2 minutes, 41 seconds of round 5, the referee has counted out Jamie Moore, the winner and new WBU International Light Middleweight Champion, Scott Dixon.
Scott Dixon, a winner on these shores again. You are one tough young fighter, aren't you?
Yeah, plus that, you got it. I mean, I train hard in the gym. I only had a week's notice for that fight. That was just enough.
Guts, grit and determination. How did you come back from that third round?
Well, he hit me some real hard shots. My head was really spinning, but as I say, I just do it. I thank God that gets me through these fights. I done it in Madrid a few weeks ago, and I've done it here tonight again.
You were expecting, obviously, an explosive start for him, but you told us last night they made a mistake, that he was too young and inexperienced for you.
I mean, the kid's only 12 fights. A good fighter. I mean, I suppose he would have maybe even went the distance with Farnell or Roberts, who knows, but the Scott Dixon that came here tonight was obviously the victor.
You look so thrilled at the end. Put that into words.
Yeah, I mean, I train real hard. With my granddad Toby and Martin and Jack at Peacock, and that's my life. Just box, eat, sleep, so I deserve some belts now. Start knocking them out.
Absolutely. After those losses to Anthony Farnell and Steve Roberts, we were wondering whether you'd make it in the light middleweight division.
Yeah,
you're back.
That's right. I mean, I've had 5 losses against me, and out of all of those fighters, I mean, I've only had 1 loss between the 5 of them, so I'm a player again.
And you're 24. Congratulations, Scott Dixon. Terrific night for you.
Thank you very much. God bless.
Tempted to say it's great to see the old-timer back, and I'm not talking about Jim. And then we realised that Dixon's only 24 years of age, Jim. He's got a future, has he?
He certainly has a future. The trouble is he has too many fights like that. I mean, you can't begrudge Scott Dixon any success he has in the fight game, because it's 100% heart and soul into everything. And that was the difference between the two fighters here. Moore got off to a good start, and I think that made him expend more energy than maybe he should have done. Dixon has done this so often, Moore had never done it before, and that was the difference at the end up.
Did you see that Dixon still had a performance like that inside him?
Whatever Dixon has inside him is going to come out, because that's the type of fellow he is. Everything is 100%. I mean, they'll have to carry him out of this fight game. He's never going to give up. He loves the fight game, and there's a real buzz about him.
You know, that's what I like about that kid. That's what I admire with him. Undeniable self-belief. I'm going to walk through this guy. I'm going to get him, even when he hurts me. In the third round, it was a nightmare. I talk about critical moments. This is a bit of a cliche, but this is a real critical moment. This is a real acid test. In the third round here, whacked with a terrific body shot, and he's thinking to himself, here's this young lion in front of me, bombing me from every angle, and suddenly I got to get up off the ground and take it, you know, take it back to him.
Barry, how about Moore's display early in this fight?
He looked brilliant. Hey, look, this was a gamble for Moore. They had to gamble. They were taking a real risk with him. But this is where it all went wrong on him. And at the end of the 4th round, he was suddenly hit with a right uppercut, and his legs went, and he went back to the corner. At 60 seconds, Steve Foster tried to motivate him, but he come back in this round, And this is what I'm talking, this is what I admire. This guy said, I'm going to get him if it takes everything. And he went in there, and you got to hand it to him. Scott Dixon was brilliant. His implacable finish never stopped until he was on the floor.
Where does Moore pick up the pieces from that, Barry?
Moore needs to go back to the drawing board. He needs to start again. He's 22 years old. He's got lots of time ahead of him. He's a southpaw and an author. He boxes out of both styles. He's got to work a little bit more on defence and his stamina. But apart from that, he's a really good kid.
Just shows how hard it is to even fight your way into contention at title.